On Friday, February 19th, 2010, the citizens activist group Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth held a press conference at the prestigious United States Marine Corps Memorial Club in downtown San Francisco. This press conference was held in celebration of the more than 1,000 architects and engineers who have signed an important petition for a new and independent investigation into the 3 collapsed World Trade Center buildings. Please join us now with Chief Executive Officer and Architect, founder of AE 9/11 Truth, Richard Gage.
Good morning. Good morning, and thank you for coming. Mark Twain once said, "If you don't read the newspapers, you're uninformed. If you do read them, you're misinformed." My hope for today is that the assembled press here will do their best to rectify that statement. My name is Richard Gage, AIA, a member of the American Institute of Architects. I'm a licensed architect for 22 years. I'm the founder of the nonprofit organization Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, which came into being almost 4 years ago when I was first confronted by the piercing of the myth surrounding 9/11. Just as science finally ended a century of myth about what killed King Tut, AE 9/11 Truth is using science to end the myth of the government's official conspiracy theory about the cause of the nearly 3,000 deaths of innocent Americans on 9/11. The head of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, Zahi Hawass, told USA Today, "It's fascinating for us to try to use science to trace truth. Likewise, the architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth are using science to trace truth in an historic detective story that is rivaling the search for the reality about King Tut." Well, in his book, The Ground Truth, why does John Farmer, the senior counsel for the 9/11 Commission, state that at some level of government, at some point in time, there was an agreement to not tell the truth about what happened? Well, that lack of truth is backed up by our architects and engineers with quote after quote on our website, such as from petition signer Alfred Lopez, who states, "I'm a structural engineer with 48 years of experience in all types of buildings. I agree that fire did not cause the collapse of the high-rise buildings. The most realistic cause of the collapse is that the buildings were explosively demolished." And from architect Dennis Holloway, "It was the discovery of molten steel in the debris that made me realize that something was really wrong about the mainstream media coverage of the towers." And from architect Carrie Lewis McCarthy, "It's very hard to understand the complete lack of concrete rubble in the debris field. Even had the basements filled with concrete floor slabs, debris, there should have been a stack of floor elements at least 9 or more stories above grade. I haven't been able to reconcile the promoted theory of collapse with the way I know buildings to behave." Today, I'm quite pleased to announce that now we have more than 1,000 architects and engineers signed on to the AE 9/11 Truth petition demanding of Congress a new and truly independent, unimpeachable investigation into the destruction of the 3 World Trade Center skyscrapers on 9/11. 80% of our 1,037 architects and engineers are from the US, and the other 20% represent 44 other countries. We hope that this number of professionals will resonate in the face of what has been a substantial quantity of ad hominem attacks such as wacky conspiracy theorist, particularly in the earlier years of 9/11, the 9/11 truth movement. But even yesterday, Glenn Beck called us nasty, dangerous, monstrous. We don't offer conspiracy theories at AE 9/11 Truth, just scientific, forensic facts whose implications, albeit, are quite disturbing. This press conference is an effort to be of service to the public in our capacity of more than 25,000 years of collective, professional, technical experience. Why are we risking our licenses, our reputations, our time, and our energy? This morning you're going to find out. We are also joined by over 30 volunteers and tens of thousands of supporters around the world. Today, our supporters are holding this press conference in 31 cities, 19 states, and throughout the world in 5 other foreign countries. In the U.S., we're talking about Los Angeles, San Luis Obispo, San Diego, Santa Cruz, Sacramento, Woodland Hills, Portland, Seattle, Tucson, Las Vegas, Austin, Dallas, Denver, Chicago, Willowbrook, St. Louis, Muskogee, Bozeman, Milwaukee, Madison, Hartford, Gainesville, Tampa, Boston, Newton, Concord, Dover, Hackensack, Flemington, and Newark, New York, Washington, D.C., Alexandria, Virginia, and overseas, Wellington, New Zealand, where the architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth held their press conference already. And you can see the results here. Brussels, Lausanne, and Pulley, Switzerland, as well as Sydney, Australia. In Canada, we're in Victoria, Vancouver, St. Catharines, Hamilton, and Ontario. And we probably have more that I haven't even heard about. 14,000 supporters make a big difference in any kind of a movement where they are as dedicated as these. Our organization, Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, attends architectural conventions, most recently in San Francisco, Washington, D.C., and Richmond, Virginia. We're educating hundreds of architects and engineers, and sharing the research systematically has resulted in new signatures in the petition and additional support for a new independent investigation. We've been interviewed by the media around the world on this topic, including several dozen interviews and articles in print, such as World Architecture News, Silicon Valley Metro, and in Japan, Asahi Shimbun, Focus Money magazine in Germany, TV appearances including the BBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, National Geographic, Fox TV, and PBS in Colorado. Over 140 radio interviews, including Coast to Coast AM, KPFA, KGO, KABC, and several aired debates with supporters of the official conspiracy theory. We presented 8 senators from Japan, the Japanese parliament, in November, all of whom expressed support for us as well as for a new investigation. After careful examination of the official explanation of the destruction of these 3 buildings, along with the eyewitnesses' testimony and forensic data that was omitted from the official reports, we, along with other professionals in the 9/11 Truth movement, have concluded that a new independent investigation into these catastrophic events is both necessary and essential to the preservation of our democracy. Even the FBI has weighed in, citing that our work is, quote, backed by thorough research and analysis, writes Michael J. Heimbach, Assistant Director, Counterterrorism Division. So what's going on here that even the FBI can see, but the mainstream media and our other government officials cannot or will not? We will present a very brief outline of the explosive evidence compiled, after which you'll have the opportunity to have your questions answered. Following this, there will be an opportunity to interview our speakers. Please see Abby. Abby, are you here? Would you raise your hand high? Abby? Abby, come and raise your hand high. And can I see? She's out front. Bring her up, please. I want everybody to see her. More detailed information, of course, can be found in our DVD, 9/11 Blueprint for Truth, The Architecture of Destruction, available on our website, AE 9/11 Truth, and provided to you in your press kits.
You're limited to